Hey y'all, hey, I'm back. Fresh wash, who this? Gotta look real good for my husband today. Anywho. So today we gonna discuss intimacy with God. And for a while I was praying to God that he put intimacy in my relationship. Like I just really want to build intimacy with my husband. And hit me real hard one day. Like, you can't build something you don't know nothing about. I have never had an intimate relationship on this world, okay? In this earth, I've never had the intimacy that I was asking God to put between me and my husband. I did not know it. And God was like, work on that with me. Build some intimacy with me. Spend some quality time and I'll show you, And, I was like, okay, but those moments are never spoke on when you're being raised in the church, and it just seemed crazy to be talking to God about intimacy and sexuality and those things, but I need God in every part of my marriage, so I'm like, well, I don't know about this, but we're going to go ahead. I'm going to work on it with you, God. Okay? So I've been working on my relationship with God, working on this intimacy with God thing. And there's been something that has just been I knew it was me, but I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what was keeping me from just making that complete connection with God. And I'm reading my Bible, I'm praying regularly, I'm doing my worship, God. I know we connecting stronger than ever, but I feel that there's a block. And today I do a worship, morning worship, while I'm doing my yoga. And so I turned it on today, and she was saying, you are worthy, And it hit me hard, dang, that's it. I been struggling with having intimacy with God because I question whether I'm worthy of it or not. The decisions I make, even day to day, strengthening my relationship with God, I sit there with moments where I know that there's things God's trying to transition out of me, and I fall to my flesh in it. I'll get upset about things that I can't change, and I want to be in that moment, and I'll get frustrated, and I'll ask God for forgiveness, but I'll just still be struggling, dang, why are you still doing that? Why are you still doing this? But it's because we're of the flesh, and so when she was saying that this morning, I started crying. I know that I don't deserve the blessings you're giving me because I'm doing nothing to receive them. The things you're changing in me, all I'm doing is asking you for help. I'm not doing anything different other than seeking you and being God, I need your help in this. So I'm when things are coming, I praise and worship because I know it's not me, that it's God. But when she was talking about worthiness, she was saying, for sure your flesh ain't worthy. You're going to sin, you're going to keep on doing those things. But when I was walking in the covenant with my husband, I was praying to God, more of you and less of me. I will die to myself. And when I was saying those things, I wasn't realizing that I was telling God, I'm going to die to me and the things that I feel are important and the things that I'm putting my pride in front of so you can help me with things. But I wasn't aware that I was saying I'm dying to my flesh and living in my spirit. And in some aspects I was, because even when my husband would be saying stuff to me, I'm that's premarital, Tasha. He asked me the other day, how long we been married? And I'm 7 months, but You can't address me like her no more. I'm not living like that. I'm not moving like she was. I'm moving full-heartedly with every intention for betterness in my marriage and my family and these generations that's coming behind me. You can't talk to me like her no more. He blank stared, but I felt that thing, you know. And so it was hit me when she was saying that, like, yeah, no, I am trying to live more in my spirit. And even when I will be thinking about the times where I will be like really struggling with my relationship with God, like, woe is me, why is this happening? I always felt a pull back to God. And I would count it up to me being raised in the church, you know, like, yeah, no, I guess I was always in the church and I know God, and that's why I'm pulled back to him. And she like, no, God's spirit is in you. Like, God gave you a piece of himself. And that's why you pull. Like, when you're going through all these things, God gave you him. God put a spirit in you before you was in your mother's womb. And that's why you feel pulled back to God. Because God is your creator. Woo, that thing hit me like a ton of bricks, okay? And, yeah, I was just like, woo, child, like, she done said a word. So we gonna go in a good book, you know. And 1 Corinthians chapter 7:14, it says the unspiritual self, just as it is by nature, can't receive the gifts of God's spirit. There's no capacity for them. They seem like so much silliness. Spirit can be known only by spirit. God's spirit and our spirits in open communion. Spiritually alive, we have access to everything God's spirit is doing and can't be judged by unspiritual critics. It said the unspiritual self, just as it is by nature, can't receive the gifts of God's spirit. There's no capacity for them. They seem like so much silliness. The spirit can be known only by spirit. God's spirit and our spirit is in open communion. Spiritually alive, we have access to everything God's spirit is doing and can't be judged by unspiritual critics. Mic drop. Okay. Mic drop. And I just want to go back to my notes because I wrote, I am not my flesh, but I am of the spirit that dwells within me. God speaks to our spirit. That right there for somebody, okay? It was for me for sure. You know, it was for me for sure. And go back to what Sister Badu said. If we were made in his image, then call us by our names. The intellects do not believe in God, but their fear is just the same. We don't recognize God's spirit in us, but others do. Other people moving around us recognize God's spirit in us, and we have to start moving according to that. Our flesh does not deserve it. We are not worthy by our flesh, but worthy of our relationship that we build with God and God's spirit that's in us. God calls us worthy by the spirit he gave us. And that's a word right there. So when I'm working on my intimacy, building my intimacy with God, that's what I was really getting stuck on, because God is giving me vision and showing me these things. And I'm just like, dang, I might mess that up. You know, I'm not sure. I'm not sure, God. Like, and God has been speaking to me about prayers that we should be doing. And I'm going to make another video today about that. But I just really want to talk to y'all about building this relationship with God. Right now, it is more important than ever. to have a relationship with God. Things are really getting shaken up, and I know I've made a couple of videos in the last couple of weeks about it, about something shifting, and that's really being in a place where God can speak to us. Enjoying my fruit. I gotta get this in, my mouth kind of dry. But, so, if that is what you are struggling with, because I've been working real hard. And not working real hard for the things that God is going to give me. There's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do for the things that God is bringing into my life. But what I will continue to work and thrive for is for my relationship to build so I can hear God clearly. And know that I'm walking the right steps. And it may seem strange, you know. I felt a little strange about it myself, right? And I'm like, God, please work on me with this intimacy thing. Because I'm trying to make a safe place for my marriage and for my husband to be able to come speak to me and for us to build what God is telling us to build. But I don't know how. And God was like, let me show you something, okay? Work on it with me. You don't know it. Nobody here has taught you that. I'm your creator. Come to me, seek to me about it. And I'm going to work that thing out. Oh, God has been working on me. Y'all see it? Do y'all see it? Because this girl is moving into femininity I ain't know I ever had, okay? And this still need work. But, and when I was thinking on that this morning, as she was talking, after it went off, and I just sat with God for a little bit. And he was like, that's why you was going through an identity crisis. Many people don't know. But that's why I like my hair. I was going through an identity crisis, okay? I was coming into the point where I'm like, I'm about to be raising some beautiful, beautiful chocolate babies, okay? And I don't know that people recognize me as black. Like, the people that is attracted to me is really attracted to something that they think is something else. You know, they think something else is giving me my beauty, not just who I am. I'm a black woman. You know? I can't tell you what Massa did, but generations leading to me, black on black on black, okay? And so I like my hair because I'm like, well, there's no question, you know. There's no question. And I also, you know, I was in that conscious time, so I'm like, yeah, I can be amongst them, and we all know, can recognize each other, you know. But that ain't really what I was seeking. The conscious people that I was moving around, they spirits was not clean, okay? There was chaos going on all up in there. They was fighting. And we all fight spiritual warfare, right? But they weren't able to recognize they was bringing the warfare to their door. Like, nah, baby, that ain't spiritual warfare. That's you waking up every day with violence, okay? They smoking, they drinking. I'm like, nah, I was coming for purity. This ain't it, okay? So, God was like, you was going through an identity crisis because you ain't just recognize yourself as mine. You was looking for approval of some crazy, okay? You was looking for approval of man. And you just needed to come on home. So that's what this is about. That's what this unveiling was about. Like, God said, come back to what I made you. You out here making crazy decisions thinking it's going to make you more true to culture. I don't need none of that for you to do what I'm calling you to do. And I didn't even know that while I was taking them down, okay? I know God was talking to me about unveiling. I thought it was to my husband for him to see it. Nope. I'm like, okay, God, I see you talking to me about how you see me and how you display me. And we're going to talk about it in the other video, but I do want to say it in here in case y'all don't make it to the other one. If you don't have another prayer that you can get out right now in the idea of your worthiness to God, just ask God, show me, give me eyes to see me how you view me, God. Let that marinate real quick. God, give me eyes to see me how you view me. I know what I deserve. I know what you deserve. I love y'all.